opening day is over, but they're still having a lot of fun out in the parking lot, ready for day 2 of the Major League Baseball schedule. It's the Brew Crew tonight against the Colorado Rockies from beautiful Miller Park on a very cool evening here on a Tuesday. Troy Tulowitzki had a great day yesterday, as did most of the Rocky hitters. Tulowitzki, the all-star, with 3 hits, a couple of doubles, and an RBI in a 10-0 win. Now it's Matt Garza, ready to cool down the Rockies, his first start of the year. And hi, everybody. We welcome you from Miller Park. Great to have you with us here tonight alongside Bill Schroeder. I'm Brian Anderson. We'll hear from Sophia Minard in just a moment. First up, we have news to report. Ryan Braun left the game yesterday. We found out after the game he left with a strain to the side. Rock looks like he's going to be okay. They did an MRI today. He's out of the lineup today, but looks like he will return tomorrow. So that's good news on that front. Now, Matt Garza gets the start, his first of the year. What are we expecting from him this season?
Well, some mechanical adjustments he made during the offseason, and they really didn't show up all that well during spring training, but it's only spring training. We look back from last year for Matt Garza, 8-8, earned run average a little over 3.5. When you look at his career, he's only had 1 season with an earned run average over 4. So Matt Garza, with his mechanical adjustment, his slider is back. His last start in spring training, the slider back to where it was when he was younger. So we'll see what he's got here tonight.
Such a key to the season. The Brewers know they have to have their very thin starting rotation, but very good starting rotation, stay intact health-wise. And Garza, who made 27 starts last year, hopes to be healthy all season long. The Brewers are going to need him. We take a timeout, and then we'll catch up with Adam Lynn. Sophia caught up with the manager about the new first baseman. She's coming up right after the break.
Baseball on Fox Sports Wisconsin is brought to you by Menards. Save big money at Menards on all your home improvement needs. By Toyota. See where Toyota takes you. Test drive one at your Toyota dealer. Toyota, let's go places. And by Miller Lite, the original light Pilsner. Cheers, it's Miller time. 2 of the 2015 Brewers season. Adam Lind getting ready to follow up what was a terrific debut for him in his first game in a Brewers uniform, going 3 for 4 with 3 singles and a terrific defensive double play that cut down a run in the second inning. Adam Lind, certainly one of the bright spots for the Brewers in yesterday's opening day loss. Ron Redecky feels that while the options that they had at first base in the past were primarily defensive, he feels that they finally have some offensive firepower at the position in Adam Lind.
Last year we had 2 defensive guys. We were hoping they give us something offensively, which they did, and at times really helped us. But through the course of the season, we wanted to get more offense, which is why we brought in Lind for this year. And then hopefully the defensive part, he's got good hands. So hopefully we see a guy defensively that'll give us what we need, but will be that solid bat in the lineup.
Ryan Braun out of the lineup, so Adam Lind will hit in the 3rd spot for him. We've got first pitch coming up for you. Matt Garza takes the mound in his first start of the season. We've got it next for you on Fox Sports Wisconsin.
Brewers baseball on Fox Sports Wisconsin, presented by Potawatomi Hotel and Casino. Book your stay now. Roof is closed tonight on a Tuesday night. Game 2 of 162 in the regular season. Brian Anderson, Bill Schroeder, Sophia Minard. And it is cold outside, 37 degrees. Heats it up to about 57, 60 degrees here inside Miller Park. Good thing we got a roof, huh? There's Walt Weiss, 3rd year as the skipper of the Colorado Rockies, and his club did just about everything right yesterday in a 10-0 win. His batting order is brought to you by Potawatomi. Charlie Blackmon leads off, Carlos Gonzalez, then Troy Tulowitzki. Middle of the order is Morneau. Arenado had 4 ribbies yesterday, as did Dickerson. Nick Hundley, DJ LeMahieu, and Jordan Lyles round out the starting 9 for Weiss and the Rockies, and that's the batting order that will face Matt Garza.
Yeah, Garza revamped his delivery just a little bit. He showed a very good slider his last time out in spring training. There's his numbers overall. Last year, 27 starts. He did have a complete game. He had 17 quality starts with that 8-8 record and a 364 earned run average. Pitched particularly well last year at Miller Park, 6-4. A 283 earned run average.
And has been historically good at Miller Park as well, with an ERA under 3 lifetime. His first offering is a strike to Charlie Blackmon, and away we go tonight. Dan Iasonia will call the balls and strikes. Excellent umpire behind the plate. Been at a couple of World Series in his career. Speedy Charlie Blackmon in the leadoff spot for Colorado. We found out yesterday what we suspected about this Rockies team. They can swing the bats. Now their starting pitching is razor thin. They don't have that dominant ace, but they did get 7 shutout innings out of Kyle Kendrick yesterday and pitched a shutout against the hard-hitting Brewers. But Rock, there is no question that this batting order, the starting 8 for the Rockies, can match up with some of the best in all of baseball.
Well, no doubt. They had 10 runs on the board in the first 4 innings in yesterday's ball game. A rough start for Kyle Osh. The only Rocky without a hit was Justin Morneau, last year's batting champ.
There's a good start. Garza rings the bell. And a called strike 3 pitches and a strikeout for Matt Garza. Good way to start the night.
Yep, and let's check out the Menards defense behind Garza here tonight. You got Davis, Gomez, and it's Gerardo Parra in right. Ryan Braun sitting this one out today. Ramirez, Segura, Jeanette, and Adam Lynn from third to first, and Jonathan Lucroy back behind home plate. And Carlos Gomez, second consecutive year he was on the All-Star team.
And an all-star starter voted in by the fans a year ago. Carlos Gonzalez on the first pitch, lines to Segura for out number 2. So Garza, who said he's going to make it a point this year to try to be more efficient, try to get early outs in counts, and a lot of that has to do with his main pitch that can elevate him into an elite right-handed pitcher in this game, and that is his slider, which he told us is something he didn't have much of last year.
Yeah, and that's one of the reasons why he got that pitch count up so much, trying to get that worked into his repertoire. And not only was not able to get outs with it, but just couldn't throw it for strikes. It's much different his last time out in spring training.
Here's Troy Tulowitzki. Gonzalez, Tulowitzki back healthy in the lineup together, and that's really what makes Colorado such a tough out as you go through their batting order.
Not too many soft spots in his batting order for Colorado. There really aren't.
Now, Tulowitzki throughout his career has been a Brewer killer as well. He is a .412 career hitter against Milwaukee, and that is a significant number of games and at bats. Yesterday was 3 for 5. He's hitting .412 lifetime with 12 career home runs against the Brewers. He has been that one guy that has just done so much damage against Brewer pitching, and that's across 43 games. That's a significant sample size of success for Tulowitzki.
Yeah, with him out of the lineup, the Brewers had a pretty good time against the Rockies last year, 6-1. Tulowitzki missed a lot of time, particularly when the Brewers were in town.
Tulowitzki played in just 91 games last year. Had hip surgery, torn labrum in the hip. He still hit .340 with 21 homers and 52 RBIs despite the 91 games. And he only ended up with 315 at bats. 2 balls and a strike on Tulowitzki. Fastball in there. Good pitch. 94 with the fastball from Garza.
He looks like he's got a lot of confidence working out there tonight. A very deliberate delivery to home plate, catching the outside corner to Tulowitzki. Tough pitch to hit right there.
Going back to the same spot, the 2-2. And it's hit hard right field. Going back is Parra. The Gold Glover is there to make the play. Slightly jammed, but a great start. Garza, 1, 2, 3. That's more like it. Now the Brewers are coming up. out to get his day started. And now the Brewers coming up for the first time tonight and trying to answer a shutout from yesterday. Carlos Gomez back in the leadoff spot. Our Potawatomi batting order with Gomez, Lucroy, and Lind. Lind hits third for Braun, and then Ramirez, Davis, and Parra, Segura, Jeanette, Garza round out Ron Renick's starting 9. And there is Jordan Lyles.
Yeah, last season, his first year with the Rockies, coming over from the Houston Astros, and not a bad season for Lyles. Yeah, 22 starts, a 7-4 record, earned run average a little over 4. A career 2-3 record against the Brewers in 7 games, 6 starts, and a 364 earned run average.
And that includes his lone career complete game shutout. That came against Milwaukee back in 2012. At the time, Lyles was pitching for the Houston Astros. Traded 2 off seasons ago from Houston to Colorado. He was in that Dexter Fowler deal back in December of 13. 2-1 to Gomez. Lines one left field right at Dickerson for out number 1.
Yeah, just got it down the trademark a little bit, but he hit it well. Well, let's check out the Menards Rockies defense. They line up the same way as they did yesterday. Why not? Things went well for Colorado. Dickerson, Blackman, and Gonzalez in the outfield. Arenado, Tulowitzki, LeMahieu, and Justin Morneau from third to first. Nick Hundley hanging the signs for Jordan Lyles tonight.
Here's Jonathan Lucroy back in the 2 spot tonight. Seems to be where Renick would prefer to have him to begin the year. Lucroy, a guy that can have success in any part of the batting order, but he is an ideal number 2 hitter, especially with a base stealer like Gomez leading off.
Yeah, not afraid to take pitches, get behind in the count, and use his right field very well.
Pops this one up right up the pipe. Hundley will give it a look, and there is out number 2. 2 up, 2 down for Lyles. Well, Ryan Braun out of the lineup, if you're just picking us up, was injured last night. We didn't know that fact until after the game. And for more on the Braun story, let's check in with Sophia. What do you have, Soph?
Thanks, Brian. Yeah, Ryan left yesterday's game in the 6th inning with what they called a lower right side strain. Now, he said that this morning he was feeling much better and he was encouraged by that. Had an MRI and he said he was encouraged by the results. It did not show any long-term injury. So he said that the plan for today was to get treatment all day. He did go through all normal activities, throwing on the field, hitting in the cage, BP. Said he was feeling sore, but encouraged that he was feeling better than what he did yesterday. Is hopeful that he could be in the lineup tomorrow, and they really feel that they dodged a bullet with a long-term injury to Ryan. All
right, Sophia, thank you. And, you know, for Ryan Braun, it's got to be so frustrating for him because this was a spring training of trying to figure out if that thumb was going to be good or not. He had surgery on that thumb in the offseason, and now you hit the season and you're ready to go, and he's feeling great. And then a tweak of that side that knocks him out today, and let's hope he's back in the lineup tomorrow. That's the plan anyway.
Yeah, you got to be careful of those things. I mean, they can linger all season long, and it was kind of interesting because the Brewers at the time were down 10-0. You just figured that Ron Renick gave him some time off to protect the thumb, but turned out he was hurt. Who would have known?
Well, Adam Lind moves into the 3 spot today, and Renick pleased to have a guy like Lind who can hit in the 3rd spot in a major league lineup. This is where Braun said he hurt it. Now, we didn't see it yesterday. He really didn't show that he hurt himself at that point. He was tugging at it a little bit after that, but that's the play that Braun said he did it. And Adam Lind responds with a walk in his Brewers debut as a 3-hole hitter after 3 hits yesterday.
Yeah, he's off to a good start. I mean, he's a professional hitter. This guy, Adam Lind, he knows what he's doing up there at the plate. Just got to make sure that back's going to be all right throughout the year. You figure Ron Renick's going to give him some days off. But he is a hitter.
Aramis Ramirez with 2 outs and a runner at first. Had a couple of hits yesterday as well. The Brewers were shut out, but it was an 8-hitter. Rockies pitchers scattered those 8 hits with Ramirez with a couple of hits. He was 2 for 3. Lind had 3 hits. Chris Davis, Gene Segura, even Kyle Loesch had a hit yesterday, but couldn't scratch one across the pay station.
Yeah,
in yesterday's game.
Brewers had a shot in the second inning and had the bases loaded with 1 out. They were down 4-0, but a double play ball ended it, and after that there wasn't much going on offensively for the Crew.
Ball and a strike on Ramirez. Popped him up. And let's see who makes a call. That'll be Morneau, and he's got it. And the first inning is in the books. Day 2 of the big league schedule. We head to the second. The Rockies are coming up. Potawatomi Hotel and Casino. Book your stay now. Scoreless as we head to the second. Matt Garza back on the mound after a 3-up, 3-down first. He threw just 9 pitches, 7 of them for strikes. And a strikeout of Charlie Blackmon, and Morneau up there swinging away. Fly ball slicing to Davis. 1 pitch, 1 out for Garza here in the second.
You know, Matt Garza said he's tweaked his mechanics a little bit, but I can't see any difference in his delivery from this year to last. Looks like the same guy, but whatever it is, very subtle. Had a kind of an up and down spring training, but he said he found his slider his last start down in Arizona. Haven't seen one yet.
Garza talking about his renewed focus. He said last year's ending to the season, and Garza was hurt, and that frustrated him. He did make 27 starts, but when he went down, the Brewers brought Mike Fiers up. Fiers had a great run. But Garza said he went into the offseason, in his words, ticked off. And he stayed that way for most of the offseason. And that finish to the year last year really bothered him. He knows that he's settled here in Milwaukee. It's what he's always wanted. He wanted a place that he could call home. He's been kind of a pitching nomad. He traded 3 times prior to getting into free agency, and he signed a 4-year deal with the Brewers. It's still the richest contract for a pitcher in Brewers franchise history, richest free agent contract. So he knows he has roots here and has put some stakes in the ground and wants to be a different kind of pitcher, wants to be more of a leader, and hopefully good things to come from Matt Garza. He certainly has the stuff, Rock, to be a dominant right-hander in this game.
Well, and he certainly has the wins. He's got a no-hitter under his belt in his career. His career earned run average very good. 8-8 last year and a 364 earned run average. He had 17 quality starts, but there were some kind of blow-up starts in there. Those are the ones that get under your skin. But he's been very aggressive so far in this game in the strike zone, not messing around too much.
I don't know how this translates to what he does on the mound, but he's been a kinder, gentler Matt Garza with the media, and he's been available for a lot of media events, media occurrences, interviews. He's just been a lot more open this spring. You don't know how that'll change. I'm not sure if that really matters much, but you know, his teammates rave about him. They talk about what a great teammate that he is. He's always your best cheerleader on the days he's not pitching. He's a different guy when he's on the mound.
He likes to have a lot of fun too on days that he's not pitching. Keeps the guys loose in that dugout.
That ball's drilled into left center field, way back. Gomez with room. It's cool inside Miller Park. Remember, we showed you it's 37 outside. They can only heat the ballpark up 20 degrees or so. So the ball not traveling very well so far tonight.
That had the sound to it, didn't it? I thought that was out of here, but Carlos able to track it down out there in front of the warning track. Well, this Rockies team, they can swing the bats. I mean, make no mistake, they're going to score some runs. They did last year.
Trying to find the holes in Arenado's swing. He had 4 RBIs yesterday, did Nolan Arenado. So 2 up and 2 down. Here's Corey Dickerson now, who also drove in 4 and hit the first home run of the season for the Rockies in the first inning.
Yeah, the Brewers saw him last year in Colorado. Saw a lot of them. He can hit.
24 homers last year in 131 games. Outstanding young hitter in the game today. He and Arenado, a lot of talk about Cargo and Tulowitzki, and rightly so. They deserve it. They've got the pedigree. But the Rockies are very happy with their young core of position players as well. Walt Weiss just raves about Charlie Blackmon and Nolan Arenado, Corey Dickerson. They've got a Gold Glove second baseman in DJ LeMahieu. This club's got a lot going for them offensively. Not sure how they're going to pitch, and you're not sure how many of these Rockies will be in Colorado by season's end if they don't get the kind of pitching that they're going to need to contend in that division.
Well, they led in just about all the offensive categories last year. You'd figure that the Rockies are going to be up there just about every year, playing at Coors Field, but at the bottom in pitching. Middle of the pack defensively, but boy, they gave up a lot of runs last year.
They have a great defensive group as well, with LeMahieu winning the Gold Glove. Tulowitzki's got a couple of Gold Gloves, as does Arenado, their third baseman. And Dickerson draws the walk. So the first blemish on Garza's line tonight. Retired the first 5 hitters and a walk with 2 outs in the second.
Hey, this Sunday the Brewers take on Andrew McCutchen and the division rival Pirates, and as part of Spring Madness, 414 select seats are 50% off, plus all fans at Miller Park will get a Rob Deere bobblehead courtesy of Toyota. For tickets, visit Brewers.com. Rob Deere.
Very detailed bobblehead right there. You know, it's even got the dimple on the chin. I like that.
And the eye black. You know, there's not a bigger style master in all of baseball, even today, than Rob Deere. He would spend an hour getting ready, making sure, you know, all the stripes lined up. You know,
right? Are the stripes lined? Yep, stripes are lined up.
They have to be lined up. He wouldn't walk out there.
I think they could have given him bigger arms.
Yeah, I think the chest could be a little bit bigger.
This pose is from
Easter Sunday,
the home run
Sunday, right?
on Easter.
Tied it up. Greg Harris, the home run.
The Rooster.
I'm looking forward to seeing him on Sunday. He's coming in, right?
I'm not sure. He's kind of a last-minute guy, you know. I'm assuming he'll be here, but you never know. There's where they got it. That's where they the inspiration of the bobblehead right there.
Well, he could hit some home runs. I'd like to see what Rob Deere would do in this ballpark.
I think between you and Rob Deere, you guys made a serious run for the best mullet in the big leagues that year in '87.
Had a competition.
Nick Hundley in an 0-2 count.
Of course, his was seen on the field a lot more than mine was.
He had the best. You by far had the best bullpen mullet going.
That's right. Mine was hardly ever sweaty.
Was there a little spritzer in there to keep it moist?
Kidding.
0-2 to newcomer Nick Hundley. Line drive right center. Gomez able to cut it off. Dickerson on his way to third, and Hundley with a base hit to extend the inning. First and third for Colorado.
Yeah, that was that slider that Matt Garza seemingly found in his last start in spring training. Here it is. It stays up in the strike zone. It's away but up. And Hundley doing a very good job waiting back and driving it up the middle. So a little rally going for the Rockies with 2 outs. 2 outs, nobody on, walk, base hit.
Second hit of the season for Hundley. He was 1 for 5 yesterday. Excellent catcher. Very good with a pitching staff, which is why they brought him in. Here's the 8th place hitter, DJ LeMahieu. He had a good day at the plate yesterday as well. He was 2 for 5.
Yeah, this is a guy that uses right field very well. He's got a big hole between first and second. Got a base hit in that hole yesterday.
Gerardo Parra is in about 6 or 7 steps in right field. And to right it goes, and Parra standing right there. Good scouting report, Rock. So Garza, 2 scoreless. Brewers are coming up. Chris Davis will lead off. So excited to finally get baseball back on a cool night here in Milwaukee. Our Carsoup.com trivia. Let's do on this one for a little while. Which team have the Brewers faced the most on opening day?
That includes the American League?
Yep, American League, National League, going back to 1970.
Yeah.
The most. Chris Davis will lead off for Milwaukee. No score as we play in the bottom of the second inning. Garza's given up a walk and a single. Has a strikeout so far in his first 2 innings. Davis, Parra, and Segura. Jordan Lyles issued a walk in the first and pumps a strike in there on Davis. Now Chris hoping to continue his home run hitting at the big league level. Brewers feel like he can keep his bat in the lineup every day. Show a little more patience at the plate. He's a guy that could hit 30, 35 home runs a season.
Yeah, without a doubt, particularly in this ballpark. Uses right field very well. He's got enough power to certainly take him out in the right center.
Davis, little tapper to the mound. Lyles has an easy play for the first out.
And that's that curveball for Jordan Lyles. He's got a very good one. He came up with a split changeup last year that he throws quite a bit. We haven't seen too many of those yet. First time through, maybe not, but had a nice season last year. 22 starts, a 7-4 record. About as many hits as innings pitched. That's always a good barometer. You can have either the same amount of hits in innings or fewer hits in innings pitched. That gives you an idea how good he's been. And consider he pitched a lot at Coors Field.
Yeah, you have to take that into account as he pumps a strike in there on Gerardo Parra. Parra has pretty good numbers against Jordan Lyles. 7 for 13 career. 3 of those 7 hits are doubles. And that one off the end of the bat right to the second baseman LeMahieu. Well, that guy is quick. A quick first step.
Well, you can see him playing with the heels on the grass and not hit all that hard, as you mentioned, off the end of the bat, and relatively easy play for the Gold Glover, DJ LeMahieu.
First Rockies second baseman to win a Gold Glove. Gives him Gold Glove award winners at second, third, and short. And in right field with Carlos Gonzalez. Gene Segura. Little flip-flop in the batting order today with Jeanette and Segura. Renicky wanting to split the left-handers because Ryan Braun is out of the lineup today. Parra plays right field. And instead of going Parra and Jeanette back-to-back in the order, 2 lefties that the Rockies could counter later in a game, in a close game, with their bullpen. He just flip-flops Segura and Jeanette. So Scooter will get that 8 spot in front of the pitcher. And Renicky said, don't read anything more into that. It's just personnel tonight with Braun out of the lineup.
Yeah, just trying to figure out what's going on throughout the season. You're going to see some changes, and most of them are going to probably come at the bottom of the order. The combination that works the best.
Three balls and a strike on Segura. Full count it goes.
Jordan Lyles just continues to pump in the strikes.
Yeah.
I mean, he's been pretty impressive. I mean, all of his pitches. He's had some good starts against the Brewers. You mentioned that complete game shutout.
Hard to believe that this is his first opening day roster. First time he's been on a major league opening day roster. There's a line drive to right on a hop. Sneaks through for a base hit. Segura drills one to right field, and the Brewers have a base runner, their first hit of the ball game.
This is what Segura has been doing throughout the spring, and got a base hit to right yesterday, staying back and not drifting and trying to pull everything. And another base hit to right. He got one yesterday on a 3-2 fastball that was kind of middle in a little bit, just keeping the hands in and hitting it hard into right field.
So a base stealer is aboard for Scooter Jeanette. Jeanette looking for his first hit of the season. Nick Hundley throws the ball well behind the plate, and Lyles is one of those pitchers that does a good job holding runners. He's a command pitcher, seeker slider guy, gets a lot of ground balls, so imperative that he keeps runners close.
And fairly quick to home plate too. And give your catcher an opportunity to throw out a runner.
See how aggressive Segura will be on the base paths this year. He is a guy that can steal 30+ bases a season, but you got to get on, and you got to have the kind of offensive ear that gives you those opportunities. Matter of fact, Segura is the only shortstop to have consecutive 20 stolen base seasons. He stole 44 in 2013, and then he stole 20 last year in a down year offensively.
And had a difficult time stealing bases early in the season. He got thrown out quite a bit. They worked with him, and success ratio much better as the season went on.
No balls, 2 strikes on Jeanette.
And most people think that you can only get into hitting slumps, you know, pitching slumps, defense, but you get into base running slumps. You know, you don't get the jumps that you're accustomed to getting. Get thrown out. You wonder why. And well, Ed Cedar, John Shelby worked with him. Success ratio a lot better as the season went on last year.
So Segura, 1 year in the minor leagues, stole 50 bases in a minor league season, which is eye-popping. They only play 140 games in the minor leagues. He had another year where he stole 37 bags. That was as a member of the Angels minor league system. And I think for Segura, he was just maybe trying to do too much. You know, he wasn't swinging the bat well, didn't feel like he was contributing at the plate. Jeanette lays off. 1 ball, 2 strikes.
Yeah, and when he did get on base, he was, like you said, he was just trying to do too much and trying to run even when he didn't get a good jump, and was getting caught stealing quite a bit, getting thrown out.
Might see him take off here. 1 ball, 2 strikes to count. Got the pitcher Garza due up next. And there he goes. And Jeanette fouls it away.
Yeah, had a pretty good jump. Would have had it stolen. Now you're setting the runner on a 1-2 count. Now you make it. Well, you might walk Jeanette to bring up Garza, who doesn't swing the bat all that well. At least you clear the pitcher.
Well, it changes the game when you get a man on base, when you get a base stealer on base. Pitcher has to divide his attention. Lyles in a 1-2 count on Jeanette, and Segura bluffs. Good thing. That would have been a good pitch for Hundley to throw on.
Won a pitch out, but it was close. Not a bad throwing catcher, Nick Hundley.
Two and two. Lyles checks on him. These are good counts for Jeanette, and that he's worked it back into a 2-2 count. He's seen everything that Lyles has. He knows Segura is a threat to run over at first. Do you dare throw a breaking ball here?
And you find a gap. The outfield very shallow for Jeanette.
There goes Segura. Jeanette swings and misses. A strikeout, and that will retire the side. No score. We head to the third at Miller Park.
Chief Operating Officer, and Rick, A great opening day here yesterday, a full house here at Miller Park. It's great to see baseball back here. And we've already started the promotion, Spring Madness 414, coming up this weekend for the First Division Series against the Pirates.
Right, big series against the Pirates. Good team, playoff team, and $4 beers, $1 hot dogs, $4 nachos, half-price tickets. Try to get as many people as you can for the weekend. And Rob Deere bobblehead on Sunday, so hopefully you'll sell out and celebrate the 1987 walk-off home run in April of 1987. Rob Deere, everybody remembers that home run.
Yeah, that was a terrific moment, and it's incredible to honor such a great moment in Brewers history with that Rob Deere bobblehead.
Yeah, I know, it's fun. I remember that day, and you know, it's sort of part of the Brewers lore, but it'd be nice to get on another 13-game winning streak, and maybe we can start tonight.
All right, well, team streak starts tonight, right, Rick?
Right.
All right, B and Rock, back over to you again. That Rob Deere bobblehead is on Sunday against the Pirates.
All right, thanks a lot, Sophia. There's a ground ball to Segura. Gobbles it up, takes care of the pitcher at the plate, Lyles, for the first out.
And I tell you, Matt Garza throwing a couple of good sliders already tonight. First 2+ innings. That was a good one he threw to the opposing pitcher right before that ground ball out.
That'll be a good pitch for him to find. By the way, you and the boss are sporting the same glasses. You've taken your ivory tower experience to a new level here with the glasses. Well done.
We didn't even go together. I mean, fashion. I mean, you got to know fashion. That's all.
I guess that's the way it is.
I would imagine his Kate and my Kate went shopping together.
I noticed your parking spot has been upgraded this year. Maybe that has something to do with it.
Yeah.
Well, it's a good move. Veteran move. 21 years in, you're starting decade number 3 now. You've learned all the tricks.
Certain things you got to do to stick around.
Start dressing like the boss. Ground ball to Jeanette, the cover by Garza. Nice hook up there. Those are a lot easier coming out of spring training when they do it every day than once you get into deep in the season.
Yeah, that's why they do it every other day, to make it automatic. Anytime you're out there in the mound, a ground ball's hit to the right side, you take off. Adam Lynn goes after it, but Garza right there waiting to get the out.
Just make it part of your habit, right? Anything hit on the ground, just take off.
Yep. And if the first baseman's going to be there, he'll wave you off.
Good work by Garza. 2 up, 2 down. Here's Carlos Gonzalez, who swung at the first pitch his last time up and lined out to short. Gonzalez has 3 career hits against Matt Garza. All 3 of those hits are homers. He's now 3 for 13 in his career. A former batting champion, Carlos Gonzalez. He's another guy that the Rockies have to keep in the lineup. He's only played in 180 games combined in the last 2 years. Right to Segura again. On a hop, Segura makes a play, and Garza looks sharp early. 3 scoreless on the board. He'll lead off when we come back. And by Hupy and Abraham, 800-800-5678. Hupy and Abraham, tell them you mean business. Day 2 of the Major League Baseball schedule. Brewers trying to even things up after a 10-0 loss on opening day. Matt Garza will lead off for the Brew Crew. 9-1-2 coming up. Garza, Gomez, Lucroy. Garza looks sharp on the mound here tonight. He's only given up 1 hit and 1 walk. Those came back-to-back in the second inning, but they came with 2 outs. Jordan Lyles has 2 scoreless. He's issued a walk and a single. He walked Adam Lind in the first, gave up a 2-out single to Segura last inning.
Yeah, both of these pitchers throwing a lot of strikes. Aggressive in the strike zone and getting some quick outs.
Garza had 3 hits last year and enjoyed all 3 of them in all their glory. He's got a favorite spot out there in right field. Tried to shoot one that way. Down it goes on strikes.
You swing hard in case you hit it. Talking about Rob Deere, right? We're talking about the bobblehead.
Back to the top of the order. Here's Carlos Gomez. And now it's time to look at the T-Mobile game changer. Players with 50-plus homers, 50-plus stolen bases across a 3-year span. Only Ian Desmond with more home runs. Pretty good company there for Gomez, Andrew McCutchen, Mike Trout, the unanimous MVP on that list.
Ian Desmond is kind of a surprise, huh? I mean, not many fans would put him on that list.
And Gomez on the ground to short. Tulowitzki for out number 2. Washington's got a very good team this year. It doesn't look like there are any great teams in Major League Baseball. I don't think there are any real second division teams either. You know, it's a pretty good parity across Major League Baseball this year. But if there is one team that could emerge as a powerhouse, it could be Washington with their great pitching.
They've been saying that for a couple of years now. They just haven't been able to get much through the playoffs. But you never know. They do have the pitching. They have some good young talent.
Lucroy takes ball 1.
Lost some guys.
They signed Max Scherzer to that big free agent contract. Scherzer and the Nationals lost yesterday 3-1 to the Mets. Bartolo Colon beat Scherzer. Lucroy grounds weakly to LeMahieu, and a 3-up and 3-down inning for Jordan Lyles. 3 in the books. No score at Miller Park.
talked about, over time, over years, and I was just, whatever. Yeah. So this last oblique injury really got me thinking, like, I'm strong, I'm healthy, I bust my butt, what's going on? And we just watched a lot of film together. I'm a guy who needs to go 35 starts, 200+ innings, and I'm able to do it. I just got to get to do it,
Yeah, refocus yourself, and Matt Garza certainly did that. He was not happy at the end of the season last year. Felt as though they missed an opportunity to get to the postseason, and he felt responsible in part for that. And well, he looks good so far today. First 3 innings, and Matt Garza, top of his game.
Garza with a strikeout. That's how the game started on the first pitch. Tulowitzki lines one right center, down, a base hit. It goes to the wall, and Tulowitzki is off to a great start this season. He's hitting the ball with authority. That's his 4th hit already of the year.
He makes hitting look so easy, doesn't he? He's one of those guys that you watch him and you say that can't be that difficult to do what he does. But look at the way he waits back. Here's a curveball from Garza. Left it up in his zone, but an early in the count curveball. And watch the way he stays back. I mean, that is a perfect swing, well balanced through the swing, and ball just jumps off that bat. He makes it look easy.
A lot of guys would take that pitch. They're going to watch that get over curveball, maybe get over and get down on the count. Tulowitzki, he fires away and he hits a double to start it. Now Morneau trying to move him.
Some guys go up there and look location, not necessarily pitch, maybe look speed, location. Tulowitzki, one of those rare breeds that doesn't matter what you throw him. If it's over the plate, he's going to have a good whack at it. Uses all fields very well.
So a lead runner at second. Justin Morneau, the batting champ from a year ago. The Colorado franchise very familiar with batting champions. Morneau hit .319 to lead the league in hitting last year. The Rockies organization has won batting titles in 3 of the last 5 years. Carlos Gonzalez did it in 2010. Michael Kadire did it a couple of years ago in 13.
Good place to hit, isn't it? Everybody talks about the home runs at Coors Field, but it's the singles that get you when you're playing in Coors Field. Outfielders have to play so deep. Josh Harrison, coming from nowhere, almost won a batting title.
Morneau hit .319 in 135 games. Had enough at-bats to qualify.
Long gone are the days of the 350 batting averages of Todd Helton.
Well, Jose Altuve in the American League hit .341 to win the batting title. He played in all but 4 games last year. Yeah, Todd Helton's on that list. Larry Walker won 3 batting titles for the Rockies. Matt Holliday. Since '98, Colorado has 8 batting champions. Morneau skies this one to left. That'll keep Tulowitzki at second base, and there is the first out for Garza. They'll rock every weeknight. Don't miss MLB Whip Around on Fox Sports 1 with highlights, instant analysis, live look-ins from around the league. MLB Whip Around is weeknight 6 p.m. Central on Fox Sports 1 and streaming live on Fox Sports Go.
We're on that once in a while.
Every now and then.
It's just to give a little bit of a rundown, a little breakdown of what's going on with the crew. We did it on opening day.
Half the time we do it for them, and we end up on the edit room floor.
That's my fault.
Probably.
Yeah.
I was going to say something.
I mean,
I'm glad you were realistic.
I think everybody realizes who the drag of the whole system is.
Yeah, it's just how the news day flows. Sometimes, what's news from the Brew Crew ends up not being news later in the day. That's okay.
Did our hit make it yesterday?
I don't know. We do what we're told, and then if it makes air, great. I'm told that it did actually make the broadcast yesterday, which we're excited about. You don't want to let all that hard work go to waste,
No.
There's a lot of prep and a lot of meetings and conference calls.
That minute and a half takes a lot of prep time.
Emails.
Good to be back to work, isn't it? Of course, you never stop, but it's good for me.
You're working back-to-back days.
Yeah.
It's been a while.
Thursday's a day off, right?
They'll ask if he went. CB Buckner says he did not.
Well, it's so good to be back at Miller Park doing baseball games, and nice crowds, and that time of year again, partner.
Yeah, it's a great time of year, and it's comforting knowing that baseball will be there for you for a long time. 7 months. Big swing and a miss by Arenado.
Yeah, there's a nice curveball on a 2-1 count. There's no way Garza was going to give him a fastball for a strike. Arenado nearly hit one out his last time up. There's a curveball on a 2-1 count, meaning that if I walk you, that's okay, but he chases. Evens the count.
This is a spot we'll find out if Garza has confidence in his slider tonight. That's a wipeout pitch for him if he does. A little foul out of play. That was a fastball from Garza.
Yep, curveball and then a fastball in.
Best slider Garza threw tonight was against the pitcher Lyles at the plate.
A 2-1 curveball will certainly slow down some bats. That's why Arenado not able to get the bat head out on that fastball in the inner half.
Tulowitzki at second. Rockies threaten. Arenado lines one to left. That's a base hit, and it's going to the wall. Tulowitzki will score. That'll be an RBI double for Nolan Arenado.
This guy's on everything, huh? Slider that time. Got the 2-1. He threw the curveball, even accounted 2. Fastball in. He got a foul ball, and that's that slider that he's been working on. Check it out. Left it right down the middle of the plate, and Arenado right on it. Rips it down into left field for an RBI double. His 4th RBI already this year. Actually 5th. He's got 5.
Arenado had 3 hits yesterday. Drove in 4, double and an RBI here tonight. And the Rockies strike first. 1-0. Here's Corey Dickerson, and he takes a big rip. He is the Carlos Gomez of the Rockies. Swings hard every time. He's got a lot of speed in that bat, too.
Yeah, bad speed at the point of contact. That's the key.
Somehow he's able to keep his helmet on, though, unlike Gomez. One man out, and that one slapped foul. Dickerson, one of 4 left-handers in the lineup for Walt Weiss. He's got his 2 lefties at the top of the order, Blackman and Gonzalez, Morneau and Dickerson. And those are all regulars. Going to be in the lineup most nights for Colorado. Rockies are carrying 3 catchers, but the 3rd catcher is Willeen Rosario, the baby bull, who's looking more like a hitter than a catcher these days, so they're actually going to try to use him a little bit at first base.
Yep, got Drew Stubbs on the bench, backup catcher Michael McHenry, one of 3 catchers actually. Daniel Descalso, the former Cardinal.
1 ball, 2 strikes. Dickerson right on that one.
Nice thing about getting ahead in the count for Garza, 1-2. He threw a fastball that got a lot of the plate, 93 miles an hour. And because he was ahead in the count, Dickerson a little bit behind it.
And that's a base hit down the left field line. Another run is going to score. Dickerson on his way to second, and it's an RBI double, and the Rockies go banging away here in the 4th. Another RBI double. Dickerson and Arenado with the 2 ribbies. And it's 2-0.
They had 5 doubles in yesterday's ball game, and now 3 in the fourth. Plating a couple of runs. Another fastball, 93 miles an hour. Up and away. Dickerson gets the big part of the bat on it and drives in another one for Colorado. Guys can swing it. You got to outslug this team.
And so far, the Brewers have yet to score this season. 12 scoreless innings as an offense. Still 1 out. 3 doubles in the inning. 2-0 Colorado. Here is Hundley. Yeah, so much talk about the slider of Matt Garza. That's a difference maker for him. He has not had a lot of success with it tonight. And usually when that pitch is getting hit, hitters eliminate it from their mind. Hundley late fouls it off to the right.
There's not so much to break because it is breaking, but he's leaving a lot of them in the middle of the plate. That is a pitch that you want to have a hitter chase. It's one of those late in the count pitches that you use as a put away pitch out of the strike zone. Best slider with 2 strikes is the one in the dirt. Have your catcher block.
Hundley on the ground. That's a base hit. And another run's going to come in to score. So the Rockies score 3. They continue to put up the big innings against the Brewers.
And this time it's a curveball for him from Matt Garza. Left the curveball up and over the middle of the plate on a 1-1 pitch. There you see the rotation. Watch it stay up in the zone, out over the plate, and Hundley didn't try and pull it and hits it hard into center field. So 3 consecutive hits. 4 overall in the inning, and the Rockies with a 3-0 lead.
First RBI of the year for Nick Hundley. Rick Kranitz, the pitching coach, out for a word with Garza and Lucroy. Well, Garza cruising right along, 3 scoreless innings, but it has come apart here in the 4th. Colorado had a 4-run first inning yesterday. Continue to put up the crooked numbers.
They had 10 runs in the first 4 innings in yesterday's ball game, and another crooked number in the 4th.
Rockies had 2 4-run innings yesterday, the first and the 4th, and they had a 2-run 3rd inning. 10 runs on 16 hits in that game yesterday. Got to avoid those big innings. Still just 1 out. Runner at first here for LeMahieu, the 8th place hitter. And he lines one over the head of Jeanette into right center, a base hit. Another hit. 4 in a row for Colorado. 5 in the inning.
And they're hitting everything. Fastballs, curveballs, sliders, you name it. And that one toward the end of the bat on the slider. LeMahieu able to dump it over the head of Scooter Jeanette.
Which will bring the pitcher to the plate, Lyles. See if he's up there to bunt here with 1 out.
Yeah, you would figure he would be. Bring the top of the order up.
And Garza misses with a curveball. Just 8 games on the Major League schedule tonight. A lot of teams are off tonight. There's only 7 games that will be played tonight. The Cardinals and the Cubs postponed their second game early. 1-1. Raining at Wrigley. Braves lead the Marlins 7-2. Matt Latos had a rough start for the Miami Marlins, traded from the Reds to the Marlins this offseason. Orioles out in front of Tampa Bay. Got Giants, Diamondbacks. Rangers A's a little bit later tonight. Seattle hosting the Angels, and the Dodgers and the Padres. It's a good pitching matchup there. Tyson Ross and Zach Greinke tonight in L.A.
Yeah.
And here at Miller Park, Brewers Rockies day 2. Garza now trailing 3-0. 3 runs are in on 5 hits in the frame. 2 on, 1 out. And Lyles not bunting, swings with the runners in motion.
Hit and run with the pitcher up. I guess Walt Rice figuring that Matt Garza is going to throw a strike. He did. Lyles fouled it off. Man, why not? Up 3-0.
Hey, when everything's going good, you might as well roll the dice.
Right. I mean, one of those innings where everything they hit, finding the outfield grass.
2-2 now. Got him. Strikeout for Garza. That's his second. And the second out. Back to the top of the order now, and Charlie Blackmon.
Well, not messing around, giving his best fastball in the outside corner. And Lyles comes up empty.
.27 pitches in the inning already. Blackmon takes a strike. Another curveball to start an at-bat.
And you got to be able to get something other than a fastball over against this group. First pitch. They're not going to take too many fastballs for strikes.
Blackmon on the ground to short. Segura goes the easy way, and that will retire the side. However, the Rockies bang away at Matt Garza. 3 runs in on 5 hits.
Nothing, lead as we head to the Brewers half of the 4th. That brings us to tonight's time of the game winner, K&K Rivers Edge Bar and Grill in Tomahawk. If they call the Brewers in the next 24 hours, they get 40 Miller Lite beer pen tickets to a Brewers home game this year. This offer courtesy of the Tavern League of Wisconsin and Miller Lite.
Adam Lind will lead off for the Brew Crew. One of 2 base runners tonight against Jordan Lyles. Lind walked with 2 outs in the first inning. 3 for 4 yesterday. Lind upped his opening day batting average in his career to .522. He loves opening day. 12 for 23 in his career on opening day.
Wow.
Got to be known for something. Now Lind is going to be a nice addition to this ball club. He's battled back problems the last few years. Brewers are cautious about his back. They try to give him a breather every now and then. You get a good left-hander on the mound, you probably see Lucroy play first base. But as long as his back doesn't lock up on him, he says it doesn't bother him to swing at all. He can play.
That's a crazy thing, isn't it?
I just wonder if getting off the AstroTurf at the Rogers Center is going to help him as well. Hope so.
Yeah.
This guy has such a pure swing.
Yeah, he does. I mean, keeps the bat in the hitting zone a long time, stays back, uses the opposite field very well. Good low ball hitter.
2-2. And that ball's hammered. Center field going back on the run. Blackman, and it's over his head and off the wall. Lind around second. He's on his way to third. Here's the throw. Lind is out at third base.
Yeah, you never want to make the first out at third. Well, you can see that coming. Good cutoff and relay by the Rockies. Now Blackman to LeMahieu at third base, and Arenado. There's that low fastball we were talking about. He gets a good swing on it. And check out the Rockies on the cutoff and relay right here. Good throw into the infield and a good throw into third to get the out. Particularly down by 3 runs, you do not want to make the first out at third base.
So 2 great throws. The Rockies, a very good defensive team, and an easy call at third base. So a double and a put out at third base. Base is empty with 1 away for Ramirez. Ramos pulls one foul. He's down in the count 0-2. Beginning his final season in the major leagues.
A little upset with himself. A little bit out in front of that hanging breaking pitch. That one had hit me all over it as it came in. It hung.
A little jam shot rolling to third. Arenado with a low throw in time for out number 2. So 2 outs, bases clean for Chris Davis. And he was on the Powerball home run leaderboard from last year. Gomez led the club with 23. Davis with 22. And I think when it's all said and done, you're hoping to look back at that season last year and say that was a down year for Chris Davis. He has incredible power, but he is hoping to show some more plate discipline.
But not bad for his first full season. As the season went on, he was more willing to go to the opposite field, wait back a little bit more. Some incredible power to right center.
That's when you know he's locked in, when he starts driving the ball out to right field. He's quickly down in the count, 0-2 on Lyles. Up the middle, but the shift is on. Right there is LeMahieu. Good scouting by the Rockies. And the Brewers are out in the 4th. Started with a double. Lind thrown out trying to stretch it.
Presented by Potawatomi Hotel and Casino. Book your stay now. The Crew trailing 3-0 as we head to the top of the 5th. And this season, the Milwaukee Brewers are launching the Strikeout Bullying Essay Contest. Students from the greater Milwaukee area will be asked to submit a one-page essay about what their school is doing to strike out bullying. On Monday, May 11th, the winning participant school will be awarded a visit from Brewers players and other Brewers personnel, along with apparel, game tickets, and transportation to and from Miller Park. In addition, the student with the winning essay will throw out the ceremonial first that night's game. If you're interested, you can learn more about the contest at brewers.com/beyondthediamond.
Well, and as we start the 5th inning, the Rockies continue to swing the bats. Carlos Gonzalez with a double down the right field line. Well, it's not just the hits, it's the extra base hits. That's the 4th now for Colorado.
And 9 in 2 games. And 9 doubles for the Rockies. There's that two-seam fastball from Matt Garza. He put it where Lucroy wanted it, up and in, maybe not enough in, but Carlos Gonzalez pulls the hips in and hits a rocket down the right field line.
Actually splintered his bat. Did you see the piece come off the handle of his bat? Surprising that you could actually break a bat and hit it with that kind of velocity out there. On a line out to the wall.
And that's the incredible bat speed that these guys in the big leagues can generate. Bat speed at the point of contact.
Tulowitzki started it all with a double in the 4th. Scored the first of the 3 runs in that 4th inning. Garza worked the first 3 innings scoreless. On the ground, and that's through. A base hit. Man, oh man. In to score is Gonzalez. It's 4-0.
They're hitting everything.
Rockies are just making it look easy at the plate right now.
And another fastball. Tulowitzki bangs it into center field for an RBI. Was it 16 hits yesterday, 8 already here in the first 4+ innings. That one right down the middle. Tulowitzki takes it right back through the box and into center field. Looked like Segura had him shaded in the hole just a bit.
So a leadoff double. Tulowitzki immediately delivers that run with a single. 2 more hits tonight for Tulowitzki, and a big swing and a miss by Morneau. Oh, and 2 on Justin Morneau. Morneau is the only Rocky not hitting to start the year. 0 for 5 yesterday, 0 for 2 today.
Yeah, and he's the batting champ from last year.
Everybody in the lineup had a hit except for Morneau yesterday in the starting lineup, even the pitcher. I'd like to see Garza get a ground ball here and get a double play and get moving a little bit in this game. His pitch count was in great shape after the first 3 innings, but he was pushing nearly 30 pitches in that 3-run 4th.
Second time through, and now the 3rd time through is not going so well for Garza.
Rockies went 1 for 8 with a walk. First time through the batting order. Second time through the batting order, the Rockies had 5 hits. 5 for 9. So they're now 7 for their last 11. And that includes 4 doubles. 1-2 pitch. Morneau chops it foul.
I think I mentioned that the Rockies had 5 doubles yesterday. It was 6 doubles and 4 today. Even with 96 losses last year, the Rockies led in just about every major category offensively. Of course, their pitching dreadful last year. Last in the National League.
Morneau lines one to right. Over is Parra. He's got it. Throw to first. He is late. Back is Tulowitzki. Excellent play by Gerardo Parra. Morneau hit that ball well. First out of the inning.
Yep, fastball in, and Morneau pulls the hands in, and Gerardo Parra able to make nice running catch down toward the foul territory. Had him shaded that way, and that's exactly where he hit it.
Now, think about Parra. I was talking to John Shelby, terrific outfielder in his day in the major leagues, but Parra, he's prone to the highlight reel play, but a lot of the plays he makes, if you pick it up right at the end, it looks pretty routine. It's all the great work he does to get to that ball, the route he takes, the jump. He ran right to the spot to make that catch.
You know, no false step. He doesn't waste any time getting to where the baseball is going to be. That's a sign of a great outfielder. The guys that aren't on the highlight reels all the time. Sometimes those highlight reels are a result of a bad break or bad jump, bad route to the baseball.
That's right, most of the time. I remember Mike Cameron was that way. Cameron, a great outfielder. And you'd rarely see Cameron dive. Remember Devon White? He rarely dove. He was always just kind of in a good position to make a play.
Yeah, I played with Devon White when we were with the Angels together. Talking about scaling a wall to make a catch. Devo, boy, he could run too.
He was smooth.
He was a Brewer for a while.
Nolan Arenado with one out. Another guy that is finding the barrel often here to start the season. Had a double and an RBI in the fourth inning. He ripped a hanging slider from Garza to the fence and left.
Yeah, Devon White was here in 2001.
The first year of Miller Park. On the ground, Garza's got it and underhands it to first.
Thought there were two outs maybe.
Garza's throwing has always been a problem for him. He's not confident throwing the ball. If that ball gets by him, that's going to turn into a 4-6-3 double play most likely.
Yep. And that's one comeback you throw to second base, but you mentioned fielding his position, making throws to the bases is something that he has struggled with. But the Rockies get an extra out.
Yep, and a runner at second. Those are the kind of things they just look bad. You know the reasons why, and everybody in that dugout certainly understands. Garza's worked at that. It's just there's a mental block there. But typically he can get the ball to first if he either has to rush and not think about it or flip it underhand, which he did there. I remember a game Garza pitched against the Brewers when he was a member of the Cubs. He was an out away from a complete game. And I can't remember if it was a bunt or just a little slow roller.
But a comebacker, yeah.
He fielded it and threw it not just into the stands at Wrigley, like into the fifth row at Wrigley Field.
And they took him out.
And they took him out, right. Dale Swaim was the manager, I believe. Took him out. No complete game. A lot of teams try to bunt on Garza. He did fairly well last year, though, fielding those bunts, especially bunts to the right side.
I think the more time he has, the more difficulty he has throwing to the bases.
Yep.
I mean, if he has to be quick, not think about it too much, I think he's all right. But you think about it, you kind of aim it, and you throw it away.
1 ball, 1 strike. Slow curve misses to Corey Dickerson. Funny thing is, Garza can make those throws no problem during PFP, pitcher's fundamental practice, and it's easy for him. It's just when he gets in a game. Dickerson got jammed, a little pop-up, so it won't hurt him here. Garza gets through the inning, but the Rockies add one to it. A leadoff double by Cargo, RBI single by Tulowitzki. Got Gerardo Parra set to lead off. Back to our Carsoup.com trivia question. Which team have the Brewers faced the most on opening day? And the answer, the White Sox. Back in the American League days, 5 times they played the White Sox, 69 counts, even though that was the Seattle Pilot, still part of the franchise. So a run against the Chicago White Sox, and the Brewers are going to see the White Sox this season. And a run in American League Baseball through the American League Central in interleague play.
Yep, I was there for 3 of those.
Parra with a base hit. Cutting it off in left is Dickerson. Parra stretching it, and he's in there with a belly flop double. Brewers needed that, a leadoff double. Hustle double from Gerardo Parra.
Yeah, nice job by Parra going right with it down that left field line. And boy, great to have a guy like Gerardo Parra to fill in when one of your starters is hurt. Look at that 2-seam fastball from Lyles trying to get away from Parra. He waits back nicely, slaps it down the line. And even with Dickerson playing shallow, Gerardo able to get into second base. Well, let's get something going here. About time they get some runs on the board.
Brewers have not scored yet this season. Shutout yesterday, 4 scoreless today. Down 4-0. Need to get going offensively. Here's Gene Segura batting 7th tonight. By the way, Parra is now 8 for 15 in his career against Jordan Lyles.
Yep, over 500. Sees it well, and he hit a line drive the first time up for an out.
Oh, goodness. Segura hit in the face. Oh, my goodness. Segura's down. Nick Hundley, the catcher, immediately waving into the Brewers dugout. That is not a good sign for Gene Segura. Man, oh man.
Yeah.
Even Lyles shaken up a little bit.
Well, it was an off-speed pitch. It came in at 80 miles an hour, but still in all. And Segura not able to get out of the way. Almost sounded like it hit part of the helmet. I don't want to speculate as to what the situation is, but Segura down and doesn't look good.
Segura pops to his feet and walking to first base. That's a great sign. It's that split change that Lyles throws.
Sounded like it got part of the helmet, maybe the bill of the cap.
Oh, man.
I think it hit the helmet first and then hit him in the cheek.
Yeah, I think you're right.
Which I think saved him just a bit.
Tell you, just when you, I mean, it's easy to call up the memory of Giancarlo Stanton going down last year, but Segura very fortunate that caught at least part of the helmet.
And it was an off-speed pitch. That's the other thing that helped him a little bit.
Athletic trainer Dan Wright taking Segura through the concussion test here. Well, he says he's all right. He is fortunate.
Yeah.
So Segura reaches on a hit by pitch. And it's going to bring up Scooter Gennett. 2 on, nobody out. Biggest threat of the game for the Brewers. First time they've had multiple runners on base. Gennett struck out his last time up.
Well, the Brewers had some activity out in their bullpen. Garza's on deck. You wonder if Ron Renegade is going to go to the bench. This is Tyler Thornburg getting loose.
Little half swing. They'll ask if he went. Yes, he did. Dale Scott Says he was unable to check his swing. Now, Scooter did well last year in spots like this, a .327 hitter with runners in scoring position. He's got a little power too. He's not a big guy, but he packs some punch. Ball and a strike. Jeanette, little roller. Off the glove of Arenado. No play anywhere for Tulowitzki. Everybody's safe.
Man, you figure now Garza is going to be pulled back. Bases loaded. The Brewers need a big inning. That's a good job by Scooter right there, going with it. Just able to get the end of the bat on it and roll it kind of into no man's land. That two-seam fastball from Jordan Lyles off the end. You can see that hole in there. Tulowitzki shading up the middle. Arenado in. He can't get there, and all hands safe.
So they're loaded up with nobody out, and Renicky will bring on a pinch hitter. Garza's done. Big opportunity for Milwaukee. Logan Schaefer will pinch hit. It's a little early to go for a pinch hitter than what you typically would call on, but this could be the moment right here, down 4-0. So it's Schaefer who gets the shot.
Yeah, particularly with the way the Brewers have had such a difficult time in scoring runs so far. Got to take your shot when you have them. Really only had one scoring chance in yesterday's game.
Schaefer's first official at bat of the season. And that's on the ground. Got a chance for two. LeMahieu, Tulowitzki, and out at first. That was close. A run scores. Oh, and now here comes Segura. Nope, they called timeout. They'll send him back. Timeout was granted. Segura trying to steal a run here. Renicky wants an explanation, and we might have a review here.
Yeah, who called timeout? I mean, I think that's what he's asking. Who called timeout? And then perhaps they might review the play at first base. That's what he's saying to the home plate umpire, Dan Iasonia. He's okay with the fact that Segura goes back to third. Now here's the play at first. Does Schaefer beat it? Boy, I tell you, it's pretty close.
Yeah, it's not. Doesn't feel like one that's conclusive enough to overturn. And the call on the field was an out.
Well, Jerry Naron and telling Ron Renicky it's too close to call, and they're not going to review it.
One of the differences this year, a manager can continue to challenge calls as long as he's correct. You only get one challenge if you miss out on it and it's wrong. So they're not going to challenge here. A run scores. Rockies get a double play.
That's about as close as it gets, though, that one. I mean, it's not when the glove closes around the baseball. It's when the ball actually makes contact with the leather of the glove.
Carlos Gomez with two away. Ground ball. Fair ball. Inside the bag and down the line. Segura will score. Gomez into second. It's an RBI double. And it's 4-2 Colorado.
Well, Carlos finally able to get his first hit of the year, and that was a big one. Cuts that Rockies lead in half. And just does, able to sneak it inside that third baseline. That two-seam fastball from Lyles. And Gomez, watch the way he pops those hips open and gets the barrel of the bat on that fastball that's down and in. Right over the bag, down the line, and the Brewers down by 2.
2 runs are in, the third hit of the inning. Well, that double play looming large by Schaefer. See if Lucroy can keep it going here. He's 0 for 2 against Lyles. A pop up behind the plate and a ground out his last time up. Lucroy looking for his first hit of the season.
Yeah, this is where Lucroy came up big in many occasions last year. One of those patented doubles in the gap. Not going to take much for Gomez to score.
Rockies have good arms in the outfield. And Lucroy pulls one foul, jumped out ahead of it.
Yeah, Lau's starting to hang some breaking pitches. All of a sudden, left that one up in Lucroy's eyes, and he was just a little bit out in front.
.306 in these types of situations last year. 2 outs, runner in scoring position. Those are where hitters make their money. 1 ball, 1 strike. And Lucroy to the right side. Backhanded Morneau. Race to the bag. And a good play there. Morneau to Lyles to end the inning. Well, the Brewers scored twice. Their first runs of the season. 4-2 Colorado after 5. On Fox Sports Wisconsin is brought to you by Miller Lite, the original light Pilsner. Cheers, it's Miller time. And by the Wisconsin Lottery, reminding you to please play responsibly. Well, the Brewers have tightened it up here. A couple of runs in the bottom of the 5th. First run of the season coming on a double play ball. And then Gomez with an RBI double. So it's 4-2. New pitcher Tyler Thornburg in for Matt Garza.
Yeah, good story. Tyler Thornburg really started the season out like gangbusters last year. Had a long stretch with not allowing a base runner. Ended up getting injured, missed the rest of the season, and made the team as a long reliever and spot starter in spring training this year. He and Michael Blazek both made the ball club. And spots like this are exactly why the Brewers are glad they have a guy like Thornburg.
Renicky won't hesitate to use Thornburg for multiple innings. And he'll open up the 6th here with Nick Hundley at the plate, the Colorado catcher. Went from the Padres to the Orioles last season. Hundley came up as a big prospect in the San Diego system. They thought he was going to be their catcher of the future.
This has got to be a fun lineup to hit in, though. I mean, I guess, you know, if you're thinking about it, you're a pitcher. You got to pitch those strikes to somebody in this lineup. You figure Hundley down at the bottom, he and LeMahieu are going to get some good pitches to hit because you have to be so careful with everybody else.
The ultimate hiding in the weeds spot in this lineup.
Right.
If they stay healthy, this team's going to score a lot of runs. They're going to do a ton of damage offensively. The major question, though, how will they pitch? They brought in a new pitching coach, Steve Foster, who has some Wisconsin ties. He's in the Wausau Woodchucks Hall of Fame. His first pitching coaching job, and Rockies have a new bullpen coach as well, and Darren Holmes.
And not an easy job being a pitching coach in Colorado. Brewers AAA teams in Colorado now, Colorado Springs. A major challenge on the mound.
2-2 to Hundley. Into left, well hit. And that's going to hit the fence. Hundley will roll into second base with a double. Another extra base hit for Colorado.
Another double, their 11th double in the first 2 games.
Hundley's 3rd hit of the game. He's 3 for 3, 2 singles, a double, and an RBI, and he leads off the 6th with a 2-bagger.
Well, his last hit came on a breaking pitch from Garza up in the strike zone, and that's exactly what he hits here. So I maybe throw breaking pitches out of the zone and try to get him with the fastball. Hits that one hard down the line in right. And a leadoff double.
Now the Rockies right back at work. They've had leadoff doubles to start each of the last 3 innings. Tulowitzki, Gonzalez, and now Hundley. Here's LeMahieu. LeMahieu is 1 for 2, had a single to right in the 4th inning. Hit a line drive for an out to right. His first time up in the 2nd. Loves to go the other way, and Thornburg straightens him up with a 93-mile-an-hour fastball. Thornburg very fortunate to avoid surgery last year. I think when he left Milwaukee, it was thought that he was going to have Tommy John surgery. Damage wasn't so significant that it required ligament replacement, and he rehabbed that elbow. He was putting together a terrific run, had a great start to the season after a fantastic 2013 season when he had an ERA at 2.03. To right field, a base hit. Hundley got a late start. He'll have to hold around 3rd. And back-to-back hits for the Rockies from the bottom of their order. 2 on, nobody out.
Everybody hits in this batting order, right? Well, I guess you have to throw strikes to somebody. And LeMahieu and Hundley having a good start to their season.
This is a lineup just bursting with talent and confidence right now.
Well, they led the National League in batting average, runs scored, home runs last year, with Tulowitzki and Carlos Gonzalez hurt quite a bit. They're always going to score runs.
Jordan Lyles, the pitcher, up there to bunt, takes a strike. 10 hits today for Colorado. They had 16 yesterday. We're only in the 6th inning. Last time of Lyles showed bunt once. Tried the old butcher boy play once, ended up striking out. Bunts it foul. 0-2. Third plate appearance for Jordan Lyles. Just surrendering his first 2 runs of the night last inning. First and third, nobody out. And Lyles bunts it foul. That'll be a strikeout for Thornburg. So his first K.
Yeah, save 50% on tickets. It's Friday through Sunday as the Brewers welcome the Pirates to Miller Park for the first weekend series of 2015. Plus, enjoy $4 beers, $1 hot dogs and sodas, and $4 nachos. For tickets, visit brewers.com/madness.
Back at it tomorrow night. Brewers Rockies, final game of this 3-game series tomorrow night. Day off Thursday, and then the Pirates come to town Friday, Saturday, Sunday afternoon. Top of the order, Charlie Blackmon with runners at the corners. Thornburg in there with a strike. Blackmon is 0 for 3. One of Garza's 2 strikeouts today. Garza went 5 innings, 8 hits, 4 runs all earned. Walked a batter, struck out 2. Right now on the hook for the loss. 0-2. First appearance in the big leagues for Tyler Thornburg since June 6th of last year. Give you an idea how good he was going prior to that outing when he gave up 5 earned runs in an inning. His ERA was 2.83.
Had retired 21 straight batters.
He went through the first month of the season hardly giving up anything. He gave up 1 earned run in his first game of the year against the Braves, and then did not allow an earned run the rest of the month of April. That was a very good changeup. That was one there.
Changeup, curveball, and fastball. Last year, fastball in the 95 range. Fastballs in this inning at 93.
Thornburg was stretched out as a starting pitcher in the spring, and we'll see how it goes here in the first few weeks of the season. At some point you have to make a decision whether you send him back to AAA or enter him into a starting rotation in the big leagues if there's an injury, because you can stay stretched out, but then you start to lose that once the season begins and you're only pitching out of the bullpen. So maybe a couple of weeks, see how things unfold, and then Brewers will have to make a decision on he and Blazek.
Yeah, you need a couple of long relievers at least early in the season. The guys aren't really stretched out. They've used both of their long relievers in the first 2 games this year.
1-2 is fouled away. Fastball by him that time.
Good pitch up and in. That's where you want to attack Charlie Blackmon. Very good low ball hitter. Likes the ball away from him. Well, you put one down and in, he will turn on it.
Blackmon, an all-star last year. First time all-star last season. And his second full season in the big leagues. Good block by Lucroy. Keeps the runners at first and third. One of the best in the business doing that.
Yeah, well, that's where he has improved the most in my mind since he's come to the major leagues. Early on, struggled in that department, worked hard at it, and now hardly anything gets by him.
2-2. Brewers looking for a ground ball. Runner takes off, and the pitch is upstairs. Lucroy doesn't bother with a throw.
And great jump.
Second and third. LeMahieu's first steal of the season. And that's going to force the Brewers infield in. Creates a few holes out there. Blackmon is very fast. He's a tough guy to double up anyway. Now Thornburg has to bear down on him. Full count. 1 out. And he didn't bite. And the bases are loaded now with the muscle coming up for Colorado.
Yeah, so important to put up a 0 after your team put up a couple of runs. And now bases loaded with, as you mentioned, the heart and soul of this batting order coming up.
Carlos Gonzalez, a double and a run scored his last time up. Actually splintered his bat on that double, but he laced one down the right field line, went all the way to the fence. He's a guy that is tough to double up as well, right off the end of the bat. Started him with a hook.
That's a good pitch. Well, you knew Gonzalez was going to be sitting all over the fastball. These Rockies, it doesn't matter if it's a curveball or fastball. They see something in the middle of the play, they're hacking. Seen that from Tulowitzki in this series.
Kind of makes you think twice about the get over curveball. Huh?
Right. Well, it's right down the middle. I think they're looking location as opposed to pitch, which is sometimes not an easy thing to do. Yeah, that gets you over curveball is typically one that stays up in the zone, and that's the last thing you want to do against this group. You got to throw your good ones even early in the count.
Well, you never know how a game goes, but this could be the game right here. And that ball's hit high in the air, left field, sounded good. Not going to carry quite as well, but certainly deep enough to score a run. And the Rockies add to their lead. 5-2. Carlos Gonzalez with an RBI on a sac fly. All three runners advance. 2 outs for Tulowitzki.
Yeah, Brewers fortunate right there. This is a very hittable pitch. Check it out. That pitch out over the plate. Looked like he got it down on the trademark just enough to keep it in the ballpark, but he does drive in a run. So the Rockies right away get one back.
And now second and third with 2 away. Got a base open at first. Pick your poison in this lineup, but Tulowitzki, not only is he a great hitter, but he's a hot hitter to start the season. And he's been a Brewer killer, as we mentioned. Gotta be careful with him. There's something about Milwaukee pitching. Hard to figure.
Yeah.
Different faces. Doesn't matter if it's Coors Field or Miller Park.
Most hitters have teams. There's certain teams that they see the ball well against, certain stadiums. And Tulowitzki certainly does feast on Brewers pitching, whether it be at Coors Field or here at Miller Park. Of course, he feasts on everybody.
Those are his Miller Park numbers, which are actually down compared to his Coors Field numbers. That 360 average is hurting his overall stats against the Brewers.
Right.
0-2 pitch. Rolls one to short. Segura will wind it up, and that will retire the side. But a run scores. Sac fly from Cargo. Rockies add to their lead. Now 5-2. Brewers coming up. Potawatomi Hotel and Casino. Book your stay now. 5-2 Colorado. We head to the home sixth. And the Brewers will send up the heart of their order, starting with Adam Lind, Jordan Lyles, like Kyle Kendrick yesterday, pitching well in his debut game in 2015. Kendrick went 7 shutout yesterday. Lyles has given up 2 runs, both coming last inning. Starts his 6th inning. He has not retired Adam Lind just yet. A walk and a double for Lind. That double didn't hurt him, though. Lind tried to stretch it into a triple and was thrown out at third base.
Yeah, with nobody out, that's kind of a no-no, particularly when you are down by 3 runs. Lyles has been able to manage his pitch count pretty well so far tonight. 1 walk, 2 strikeouts, and basically pitching to contact.
Lind slices one, hit it hard, but slices it foul. Rockies do have some activity in their bullpen. Friedrich getting loose, a converted starter.
Saw him yesterday.
Christian Friedrich. Friedrich pitched a scoreless inning yesterday. He had the 9th in a 10-0 game. One ball, 2 strikes on Lind. Last year, Lind had a down season. It was an injury-plagued season. He played in just 96 games. Just 290 at-bats. Had 6 homers, 40 runs batted in. Once hit 35 homers for the Blue Jays. That was back in '09. That ball's hit hard. Left center field, slicing over the head of Dickerson, and he'll run it down. Ball just not traveling well tonight. And Lind is retired for the first time. 1 gone for Ramos Ramirez. Well, home run count courtesy of Powerball. It was a down year for the Brewers with the long ball last year, a team that is built for the home run. Just 150. 11th in the major leagues.
Yep, and the Brewers looking for their first one this year. Hit a couple of men on and knock one out of here.
Inside, almost hit him. 2-0. Ramirez would have to have a monster year to achieve a milestone for home runs. He is 31 shy, actually 41 shy. There's a liner to left. Dickerson will make the catch. Two up, 2 down. Now 31 homers shy of 400 in his career is Ramirez. He'd take it. I said, if you get to 400, are you coming back next year? He goes, nope, I'm done.
I think it would be a better chance of him coming back if he gets to like 395.
Maybe sits on the 399, come back for a month or 2. 400 home runs. I mean, it's
been a nice career.
That is big time.
Yeah, it's already been a great career nice career for Ramos Ramirez, and run producer, and he really doesn't get the credit that he should defensively.
That ball's hit sharply. What a play by LeMahieu to his feet, and he throws him out, showing that gold glove form. Davis can't beat the shift. Excellent defender, B.J. LeMahieu. 3 up, 3 down. Brewers down 3. We go to the 7th.
Series with the Rockies tomorrow at 7 o'clock. Then opening week continues as division rival Pirates come to town for Spring Madness 4-1-4 this Friday through Sunday. Reserve your spot at opening week. Visit Brewers.com today.
You sounded a little winded there. Did you make a sprint for it?
No, I had a big hunk of meat in my mouth, and then they told me that I had to read a promo. So busy before the game, I just get a chance to eat.
Hey, don't let us bother you. I could have easily handled that. I don't want to cut into your break.
No, I don't want to hear it. I'm going to do it. A little bit of roast pork in my throat, but hey, we're good.
Jeez. That ball is hit high and deep, but foul. Justin Morneau sending one to the far reaches of foul territory. How good is the Miller Park food, by the way?
Oh my goodness! I was just getting ready to say, they bring it to us in the booth. Before the game, the stuff that the food that they serve at the Johnson Controls Stadium Club.
Well done.
Outstanding.
That ball's hit well left center, and that's going to get down. So Justin Morneau with his first hit of the season, and the doubles keep coming. That's 4 consecutive innings with doubles to lead off.
Yeah, check it out. Fastball right down the middle of the plate, up in the strike zone, and Justin Morneau, who won the batting title in the National League last year, able to find the gap out in left center for another double. He got 12 in this series. How many is that today?
Well, there's 27 hits total in the first 2 games.
Hey, that's 12.
12 of those doubles. You're right.
6 yesterday, 6 today.
12 by most counts. Here's Arenado. Whatever the scouting report is, the Brewers are going to have to go back to the drawing board here. Rockies are free swinging at the plate and having a ton of success.
They're seeing it well.
Arenado into right center. That's trouble. That will get down. Parra able to cut it off, and that is going to save a run. Fire to third, and it hits Morneau. Otherwise, it's going to be in the dugout. That throw drilled Morneau as he was diving back to the bag.
Don't understand why Morneau didn't score easily on that. I mean, to go halfway on a ball hit like that, if you do, you're able to walk home. Roto Parra's throw is into second base, conceding the run. Let's see, he ends up tagging up. Not sure why. That's not good base running, but Parra able to get it in. And nearly had a play on Morneau at third base.
That'll be an error on Segura that allowed Arenado to go to second, but let's see where this got him here. Oh man,
right on the arm.
Looks like the right arm, shoulder, arm. Checking his neck. Oh yeah, you see the mark on his neck. Wow. Well, that was a direct hit. It's got the blood on the chin. I think that's from hitting the ground on the head first slide. We've had 2 scary moments in this game. Morneau here. Segura earlier was hit by a pitch that clipped the brim of his helmet and then hit him in the face.
Yeah, good throw by Segura, and I think Morneau's out at third base.
So it's second and third here. Nobody out in the 7th inning. Rockies are threatening again. They have scored in each of the last 3 innings. It's a relentless attack offensively by Colorado. And a good hitter at the plate, Corey Dickerson, who has a double and an RBI tonight. 1 for 2 with a walk.
Yeah, Brewers are forced to bring their infield in. Last thing you want to have to do with this guy up with nobody out.
Rockies scored 3 in the 4th, got 1 more in the 5th. The Brewers answered with 2 in the bottom of the 5th, but had the bases loaded and nobody out in that inning. And then Colorado answered back with 1 last inning and are threatening again. Thornburg pitching in his 2nd frame. Garza went 5, gave up 4 earned runs. And Dickerson, a liner to Lind. Everybody back. Brewers dodge one right there. Dickerson hit it right at the Brewer first baseman for the first out of the inning.
Yeah, before that pitch was on his way, Dickerson moved up in the batter's box almost as if he knew a breaking pitch was coming. He throws the breaking pitch, and fortunately for Milwaukee, it's right at Lind at first base.
Here's Nick Hundley now. Brewers keep their infield halfway in. Hundley takes a strike. Hundley tonight has not been retired. 3 for 3 with a double. He drove in a run with a single in the 4th. His first RBI of the season. This is a spot where Thornburg needs a strikeout.
There really aren't any soft spots in his batting order, not at least the first 2 games. 7, 8 in the batting order, have 5 hits.
It's the 8th place hitter, DJ LeMahieu, next, who has 2 hits tonight. Oh, he had a good cut.
Let's check it out. It's an 0-2 pitch. Lucroy calls a curveball. Now watch Dickerson move up in the batter's box as if he knows a breaking pitch is coming.
Tell you what.
Here it comes. He hits it hard, fortunately right at Adam Lind.
That's a good eye. 1-2. And Hundley chases. Down he goes. Good pitch by Thornburg. When he needed a K, he gets one. And now a way out of the inning without another run scoring. I mean, it wouldn't be the most shocking thing in the world to know that the Rockies may have picked up something on Brewer pitching the way they're swinging the bats here.
Let me tell you, I mean, the fact that on an 0-2 pitch you got Dickerson creeping up in the batter's box like that and a curveball comes makes you wonder.
The old catcher in you has you a little suspicious.
Paranoid.
Big hack. LeMahieu chases a fastball.
All catchers are paranoid that the signs are getting stolen. I mean, that's just something that you deal with on an everyday basis.
I mean, you don't see this much offense typically in a 2-game stretch, and not just the quality of the swings, but the first pitch breaking balls that are getting driven all over the park. You never know.
Yeah, even the outs have been hit hard for the most part for Colorado.
Just makes you wonder. No balls, 2 strikes. Thornburg trying to get out of this one. On the ground, Segura will wind it up, and that is the inning. Heck of a job by Tyler Thornburg. A double and a single to start the inning. He strands 2 in scoring position. Now, Carlos Gomez going with the rally throw right here. Down 5-2. Hey, a reminder that Saturday MLB returns to Fox Sports 1, a doubleheader. Red Sox Yankees followed by Royals Angels. Coverage begins Saturday at 11:30 a.m. Central on Fox Sports 1, streaming live on Fox Sports Go. The Rockies have made a pitching change. Jordan Lyles is out, 6 innings, 2 runs. He's in line for the win. And it's Boone Logan now pitching for Colorado, the former Yankee.
Yeah, 4th different big league team that he's pitched with. Started with the White Sox, went to Atlanta. He went there for a year. Most recently with the Yankees. Colorado last year when he got roughed up a bit. 35 games out of the bullpen and an earned run average just shy of 7. More strikeouts than innings pitched. I mean, he could strike out some guys. 32 punch outs in 25 innings.
He is nasty when he's at the top of his game. At the plate presented by Wendy's for Gerardo Parra tonight. 1 out of 2, had a double and a run scored. And a spinner for a strike. Logan was one of Joe Girardi's favorites for a few years out of that Yankees bullpen. And proved to be a workhorse. Led the major leagues in appearances one year with 80.
Yeah, 2012.
How about that? He pitched in nearly half the games. A lot of games, a lot of innings. Actually, his innings were actually down. He was more of a situational guy.
Yeah, 55 in the 3rd innings. Allowed only 48 hits that year. But yeah, those 80 appearances, that's a lot.
His strikeouts per 9 innings are impressive. He has been up over 11 the last 3 seasons. Brock talking about his strikeout numbers. And career, Logan is averaging better than a strikeout per inning throughout his 9-year career in the big leagues. Starting his 10th season this season. Throws a lot of those. Changed speeds on his breaking ball, has a curveball and a slider and all points in between.
Very effective against lefties for sure.
Parra leads off, then Segura, and then the lefty Jeanette. Fastball called, strike 3. Logan punches out Parra for the first out.
That's exactly why Logan's in there. He knows he's got 2 left-handers to deal with right on the outside corner. You can't walk it across home plate any better than that. Not much Parra could do with that pitch.
Here is Segura. Hit by a pitch last time up. Hit him in the face. But it looked like it caught the brim of his helmet first. And he was able to remain in the game. It was a scary incident. Nick Hundley, the catcher, popped right up and started waving the medical team from the Brewers dugout to the field. You thought it was a serious injury.
Segura's starting to be a little gun shy up there. Remember last year he got hit in the face in the dugout with Ryan Braun's bat last year, and got to be careful out there, right?
Yep. Well, we'll see how the mind works after something like that.
He was fortunate that it was a breaking ball. It was a changeup, 80 miles an hour.
Segura in the air to left, going back on a Dickerson with room. Out number 2.
She's not carrying tonight, is she? Nope.
Those are all you get to about June and July. It looks like a lot of these fly balls would be traveling out of here just because the air temperature is be so much warmer inside Miller Park. Probably sitting around 58, 62 degrees, something like that. I'm no weatherman.
In here?
In here.
Yeah.
Would you say? Feels a little cool.
It's a lot warmer than that in his nice booth. But
with all of your catered meats up here.
Yeah, my selection of sliced meats all around me.
We do have it tough.
Oh man, I tell you, I miss this during the winter.
The free food or the baseball?
Just being here at the ballpark, hanging with you every night, seeing all our friends,
all of our enemies.
Yeah,
all of our frenemies.
There's a lot to like about this business.
Oh, 0-2 to Jeanette. 2 outs for Boone Logan, and 3 up and 3 down he goes with a couple of Ks. 5-2 Colorado. We've got 7 in the books, headed to the 8th. Rockies coming up. Second day of the season, Miller Park, Milwaukee. On a Tuesday night, top of the 8th inning, the Rockies have a 5-2 lead. 3-run inning was a big one for Colorado in the 4th. Matt Garza going 5 tonight. He's on the hook for the loss. Tomorrow in our Miller Lite What's on Tap, it is Eddie Butler, just added to the roster late, against Willie Peralta, another hard-throwing right-hander. We'll see if Peralta can build on his fantastic season from a year ago and keep pushing to the top as an ace. He was a 17-game winner. New pitcher is Jonathan Broxton. And the Rockies will bring on a pinch hitter, Rafael Inoa. There you see the numbers last year for Broxton, splitting time between the Reds and the Brew Crew.
Yep, 62 appearances and a .230 earned run average for Broxton. Had himself a pretty good spring training. 8 appearances in spring with a .123 earned run average. Gave up only 1 run in 7 1/3 innings.
You'd much rather have Broxton in a role that he would be best utilized, in that setup role when you have a lead late, but the Brewers need to get him on the mound. Trailing 5-2 here in the 8th. Got a day off Thursday. Can't have those guys sitting too long. That's the hard part about managing early in the season. If you're Ron Renicky and you're trying to make sure guys get their work, but you never know, you may need your setup guy and your closer for 3, 4, 5 days in a row. You may get into a lot of those close games. But there are a number of off days to work with as well. Little chopper by Inoa. Ramirez makes the play for out number 1. So 1 away for Jonathan Broxton as we check in with Sophia. What do you have?
Well, Brian, at spring training, Jonathan Broxton said that, he admitted it was a little weird last year coming in down the stretch as they were in the playoff hunt. Didn't really know where he fit in, and he's kind of a quiet, reserved guy, but he said having relationships with Will Smith and Jeremy Jeffress helped him feel a little bit more comfortable. And so going into this season, he said it's great. He feels a lot more comfortable. It's relaxed here, playing with young guys who respect the game. And, of course, with closer Frankie Rodriguez, he said he was thrilled when they brought him back. He says, we're two very different pitchers, but I have so much respect for him as a pitcher who competes every time he's out on the mound.
Well, Sophia, and a guy that has closer experience, you know, before K-Rod was signed and brought to spring training, the thought was that Broxton was going to be the closer. Hey, Rick Kranitz can't say enough about what Broxton and K-Rod bring to that bullpen. You know, bringing these young kids along, and they've had a big impact.
Broxton once saved 35 games as a member of the Dodgers. He was an all-star with the Dodgers twice. Hasn't really been in that closer's role since 2012. Went from the Dodgers to Kansas City. He was traded to Cincinnati. 2.5 years with the Reds. Reds shipped him to Milwaukee last year. 11 games with the Brewers last year. And for a big man, he can go invisible in that clubhouse, which is hard to believe. But he is a very quiet, shy individual. 6'4", 305. Swing and a miss. Down goes Blackman. A strikeout for Broxton.
At 93 miles an hour. Back in his heyday with the Dodgers, he was getting it up there to about 98. Didn't throw too many breaking pitches last year, but he showed a pretty good slider in spring training. Elevates that fastball to get Blackman on strikes.
So 2 out, and here is Carlos Gonzalez. Gonzalez with a double and a run scored in the 5th inning. He drove in the 5th run of the game in the 6th. That was the only run that Thornburg allowed in his 2 innings. Gonzalez had a sac fly in that 6th inning. Thornburg went 2 innings, 4 hits, 1 run. Garza gave up the first 4. The Rockies starter Jordan Lyles, 6 innings, 2 runs.
It's basically 2 bad innings for Matt Garza, 4th and 5th. And a cruise for the first 3.
Little half swing. Did he go? He did not, says Dale Scott. Rockies have a former Brewer closing games to start the year. LaTroy Hawkins and John Axford in a setup role. He and Ottavino.
Yeah, Axe had a pretty good spring with Colorado.
They've got some power in their bullpen. 2-1 pitch. 2-2. There's LaTroy, 41 years of age, still at it. This is his final year in the big leagues. He announced that he'll wrap it up after this season. He's one of the great guys ever right there.
Yes, he is. Started his career as a starting pitcher with the Twins many moons ago.
Broxton trying to make it a 3-up, 3-down inning. Get the Brewers to the home 8th. Oh, just missed.
Yeah, had him looking away, and Broxton came inside on him, just missed that corner. Boy, that's a tough pitch to take. Look at that. He sold it.
Hit hard. Jeanette, nice backhand pickup. Spins and throws him out. Good play by Scooter. Broxton with a 3-up, 3-down inning. We head to the home 8. Brewers down 3.
1-2-3, 8th inning. Hopefully that's going to set the stage for Brewer hitters here late. They trail by 3. Jerry and I getting ready for Brewers Live postgame coming up in just a few minutes. But Jonathan Broxton, our Marshfield Clinic shining moment of the game. He had a nice outing in his debut here in 2015.
You know, he's going to be an important part when you talk about the back end of this ball club. It's going to be very important. Jonathan Broxton coming in at 8 can also close for you. He's got that experience. It can be very important as we get along through the season.
All right, the Brewer bullpen once again keeping this team within reach here. We'll see if Brewer hitters can do. Jimenez, the pinch hitter, leading off. Brian, we've got Brewers Live postgame again on the way.
All right, thanks, Craig and Augie. Looking forward to that. Luis Jimenez, his first opening day roster, gets his second at-bat of the season. New pitcher for Colorado is Adam Ottavino, who is the closer in waiting for the Rockies.
And he started his career with the Cardinals. He appeared with the Cardinals back in 2010. Been with the Rockies ever since. There you see his numbers from last year.
We saw Descalso at first base. Morneau is out, and a nasty slider gets Jimenez. And this Rockies bullpen that boasts a lot of power now, locking up the Brewers offensively. Top of the order, here comes Gomez, our Jimmy John's delivery of the game. Double down the line for Gomez. And the first RBI of the season. The Brewers had scored a run on a double play prior to that. The first ribby of the year.
Yeah, Ottavino gets it up there in the high 90s. He gets it up there at about 98 from time to time. A slider to go with it. Tough on right-handed hitters. There's that slider. Boy, I think just like it stops in midair as it gets to home plate.
Goes across his body. He's tough to pick up.
Looks like a fastball, but then it takes a left turn.
1 ball, 1 strike on Gomez. 1-2. Walt Weiss was talking before the opener yesterday how pleased he is with his bullpen. Managers are typically defined by their bullpens. And Walt Weiss, he loves the power that he has leading up to Hawkins. Hawkins still throws hard at 41 years of age. I think most believe that Ottavino is going to end up in the closer's role at some point. And he buries the edge with a fastball, and down goes Gomez. Back-to-back Ks.
I think he had Gomez looking for that slider. Threw a fastball right on the corner. Check it out. Hundley barely has to move his glove. That had plenty of the plate.
And some movement too, huh?
Yeah.
So 2 outs on strikeouts, and here is Lucroy. Brewers have not had a base runner since Gomez doubled in that 5th inning, that highlight we showed you. Rockies have retired him in order since. Lucroy 0 for 3. Still looking for his first hit of the season. 0 for 7. Two and 1. Brewers need a base runner. Try to get something going offensively. Running out of outs here, down to their last 4 outs. Ooh, a hanger in there for a strike.
Yeah, but that thing just kind of spins up there, and like I said, almost like it stops in midair. It's the speed sometimes, or lack thereof, that fools a hitter, not just the break on the pitch.
Frankie Rodriguez will have the 9th. 2-2. Lucroy, little weak ground ball to second. And Ottavino holds serve for Colorado. 1-2-3 inning. Impressive. Couple of strikeouts. 5-2 Rockies. We are headed to the 9th.
Celebrate the return of spring to the 414 area code with 50% off select tickets this Friday through Sunday as the Brewers take on the Pirates. Plus, enjoy $4 beers, $1 hot dogs and sodas, and $4 nachos all throughout the weekend. For tickets, visit brewers.com. Is that better?
That was nice. Well done. I like the 414, the play on the numbers there.
Right, yeah.
The area code.
Right.
Frankie Rodriguez is in the game for the Brewers. The closer has to enter here with the Crew trailing 5-2.
Really can't slip anything by you, can they?
No, I like that. It's well done. It's very creative.
Yep. The marketing department at its best.
Speaking of marketing, saw Teddy Werner earlier tonight. He's, got a lot of cool stuff out there from the marketing department. Have you seen those commercials, the Brewers commercials? They're pretty neat. They're very intense. Get you pumped up, ready for the season. More to come, I'm told. Troy Tulowitzki leads off. Tulowitzki has had a hot bat to start the year. 2 more hits tonight, 2 for 4. Has a double, an RBI. He scored a run. Had a single and an RBI in the 5th inning. His 2nd RBI in as many games. A 3-run inning. The difference in this game. Rockies scored 3 in the 4th, and it was started by Tulowitzki, who doubled.
5 hits in the inning, 3 of them doubles back in that 3rd inning.
Reaches out into left center field. Davis, he's there to make the play.
Hung up just long enough for Davis to be able to get there. And that was a K-Rod fastball at 90 miles an hour. And Tulowitzki a little bit out in front. K-Rod didn't have too many opportunities in spring training. 5 outings. So you see where K-Rod ranks all time in saves. Troy Percival next on the list.
He said he'd take a 52 save season to get to 400. That'd be quite a year.
He's got a 2-year deal. Pretty good chance he might get there in 2 years, right? 2 solid seasons.
Yeah, you hope so. Daniel Descalso is batting for the first time. He came in defensively for Morneau, who took a throw from Segura in the neck, sliding back into third base. Former Cardinal, utility man. One and two. K-Rod is back in Milwaukee for a 5th tour. He was traded here in 11. Matter of fact, he first appeared for the Brewers in 11 in Colorado. That was just prior to the All-Star break, the year the Brewers won the division. And K-Rod was traded thinking he was going to be the closer, but John Axford was having such a great year that he ended up in a setup role. Swing and a miss. Descalso is out.
There's a good curveball right there.
Two gone in the inning. First strikeout for Rodriguez.
Now throwing strikes for K-Rod, getting ahead in the count and having hitters chase out of the strike zone. Good curveball going straight down. And Descalso comes up empty.
Now looking ahead to the Brewers' 9th. Adam Lind, Aramis Ramirez, Chris Davis. 3, 4, and 5 in the order. Right now down 3. Nolan Arenado at the plate. Arenado, thought by many to be the best defensive third baseman in the major leagues. Back-to-back Gold Gloves for the Rockies, and his offense is coming quick as well. The more he gets settled. Feels like a guy who is going to be a big threat both sides of the ball.
The guy in Baltimore is not too bad either.
And a shot. Oh, nice pick by Ramirez. Got him. Pick on the other end. 5-3 put out. Arenado getting a taste of his own medicine. Well, let's see if that'll jumpstart the Crew. They need it down to their last swings. Beautiful play by Ramirez. And he'll bat second when we head to the bottom of the ninth. Brewers baseball on Fox Sports Wisconsin, presented by Potawatomi Hotel and Casino. Book your stay now. Under the lights of Miller Park, roof is closed on a cold night in Milwaukee. And the former Brewer, LaTroy Hawkins, now 42 years of age, will try to nail it down for Colorado. It's 5-2, bottom 9.
Not a bad season for him a year ago. 57 appearances, a .331 earned run average. Not the strikeout pitcher that he used to be, but check out that opponent batting average. Doesn't walk many, and only had a batting average at .246. Announced that he will retire at the end of the season.
23 saves last year. Rockies had a plan to have Rex Brothers emerge as their closer last year. That never materialized. This year they're grooming Ottavino, who has one career save in his tenure with the Rockies. But Hawkins begins the season as the closer. Adam Lind leads off, and Hawkins misses low. Lind, Ramirez, Davis. Brewers down 3. Rockies have out-hit them 12-5. Colorado has left 9 runners on base as well. This game could have gotten out of hand in the middle innings. Colorado pitching has retired 10 consecutive batters for the Brewers. The last hit was a double by Gomez with 2 outs in the 5th inning. That produced a run. On the ground, over there is Descalso, shovel to Hawkins, and there is out number 1. Back at it tomorrow, 6:30 is airtime. The Brewers will send up Willie Peralta.
Well, unless the Brewers get a few runs here tonight, it's going to be a little bit of pressure on Willie for his first start of the year. And just the man to get it done. Tremendous year last year.
17-game winner last season. An emerging ace. Hoping he can take it to that next level. Ramirez takes a strike.
Not bad for a 41-year-old throwing 93 miles an hour.
In his 21st year in the major leagues, he came up in 1995. He had 4 years in the big leagues when Ramirez was called up. Strike called. Fastball surprised him. 2 up, 2 down. 12 in a row retired.
And check out Hundley. Does he move the glove? Yeah, that's a strike. Perfectly located by Hawkins on the outside corner.
Hawkins has never really had a chance to be a closer. He had a shot at it with the Twins in 2001. He saved 28 that year. Had a very high ERA, though. And then the Cubs gave him a chance to close. That didn't go well in Chicago in 04. But then 23 saves last year. He ended up closing games for the Mets 2 years ago. Keeps himself in top condition as Davis keeps the game going. A base hit. So Davis, who's been victimized by the Rockies shift all night long, finally gets one to drop in the outfield.
Yeah, able to get on top of that high fastball. That was at 94 miles an hour. Check out Davis. Really trying to get on top of that high fastball. Does, and lines it into right field. That's a nice swing by Chris Davis. Lot of hits over there.
Two outs for Gerardo Parra. Brewers need another base runner to bring the tying run to the plate. Time is called. I believe Parra asked for time. Runner takes off, not being held on, and Parra fouls it off. 1-1. For LaTroy Hawkins, this is his second tour in Colorado. Played for the Rockies back in 07. Signed by the Twins originally. Out of Gary, Indiana. He's a great story. Tough upbringing and steered clear of gang activity and all the trouble that exists in Gary at that time. Well, he is quite the pillar, LaTroy Hawkins, as Davis takes second base.
One of the good guys in the game, LaTroy Hawkins. So he and John Axford going over to Mark and Debbie Atanasio before the ball game, saying hello. Loved his time in Milwaukee.
Well, a base hit. The Brewers could put another run on. 2-1 to count on Parra. Got Segura due up next. In the air to left. Dickerson on the run. Ball's well hit, but Dickerson is there. And the ball game is over. Hawkins saves it for Jordan Lyles, who wins. Matt Garza suffers the loss. And the Brewers start the season 0-2 to the Colorado Rockies. 5-2 the final. It's time for Brewers Live. We check in with Craig Cashon. He's out at the set. What do you have coming up, Craig?
Well, of course, we're going to hear from Ron Renicky as we do each night, and going to break this one down, find out what went wrong early for Matt Garza in this contest, and get you set for the preview finale, the series finale coming up tomorrow night.